Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right Podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, joined by my lovely wife, Miss Southern Shell. We got Tyler on the board. It's another beautiful, rainy, cold day in Hernando, Mississippi.
I don't know when we're going to be able to film.
I don't know. I was supposed to film. We were supposed to film yesterday.
Yeah.
And it stormed all day yesterday. Well, the rain's steady going. It's till 6 o'clock tonight. So
no, it's later.
This is more.
Yeah, when I checked it just a minute ago, it's at 11.
More reasons why we got to get the smokehouse complete.
Yeah.
And the smokehouse is underway. It's probably 80%, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully by May we'll be in there.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We had beautiful weather last week in New Orleans with our Blue Plate friends.
Yeah, we did.
Got to judge a little contest.
Real quick, before we talk about that, I wanted to talk about this weekend we're going to Firedancer in Benton, Arkansas.
I get it confused because he's from Bryant.
Yes.
Which is next door to Benton, and
Yeah.
his shop is in Benton. So he's got the Firedancer shop like we got the Malcolm shop, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we'll be at the Firedancer shop this Saturday, 12 to 4.
Hanging out.
Yeah, we're advertising
Talking.
12 to 3 because
What's the
we'll be there
agenda?
12 to 4.
Just talking barbecue.
Talking barbecue.
Meet and greet.
Yep.
Lots of meat or more great than meat?
It's more great than meat. How do you spell meat, I guess?
Yeah.
It's MEET.
That's okay.
That's a good little pun, though.
Sure,
The
we should
meet
keep
and
that in
greet.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we need to start doing those here at the shop.
Yeah.
Meets and greets.
You get a little sample.
Come in, we'll say hi to you. You get some chicken wing. You get some smoked sausage.
So, okay. We can talk about.
Oh, yeah, you got the businesses out of the way. Is that the only business? Do we know if the people that won the tickets to the Hogs for the Cause got to go?
I didn't.
I never heard back from them. So
Yeah.
like Blue Play's the one that reached out to them. So
Oh, okay. It was out of our control. We
Yeah.
just sent them 2 people or
Yeah,
whatever
they had
it
like
was.
a will call
Okay.
style ticket or.
so
Would
hopefully
you-
they got to go.
Did you have fun at the Hogs for the Cause?
You know, Hogs for the Cause to me is like, we haven't been in years, but going back this time, I remembered how much I like that contest.
It's fun.
I would say it's probably the best contest for if you're not cooking, like if you're not on a team.
Spectating.
Yeah, if you just want to go and spectate to a barbecue contest, that's the one you need
So-
to go to.
It's kind of kin to me to like going to a barbecue contest and going to a state fair that has really good food.
Yeah.
You take the like amusement side of the fair out because every booth is set up to fundraise or to sell all the different kinds of food. Man, there was some good stuff.
Yeah, they get creative with it. I saw somebody that had like a waffle cone, macaroni cheese, and I think it was either brisket
What?
burn-ins or pork belly burn-ins on top. You know,
See?
you got a spoon.
I didn't see that. I
Yeah.
had to try that.
Yeah.
That's one to recreate. You think they make like you can just buy waffle cones, right?
Yeah, or they're easy to make too. A lot of times there's chefs and restaurants involved in these.
Do you use a waffle maker to make a waffle cone?
I feel like for that one, was it hard or was it soft?
It was a hard cone.
Wow.
That's like that's your cup.
Yeah, it was like your cup.
But it
Yeah.
wouldn't matter because waffle cone's a little sweet, but it kind of plays with it because
It
of the
could.
sauce and stuff.
But they could have made a batter that was more savory too.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I like that idea. I got to figure out because they do it at like ice cream shops. I've seen them. They'll
Yeah.
throw them on. It looks like a crepe maker thing with a waffle, or I don't know if it's a regular waffle iron, but they
you
get them out
roll
while they're
them.
hot and floppy. They roll them and put them in this little like paper cone, and they sit them in a little rack, and that's why they sit there and get hard and
Yeah.
crunchy. So it's like you're cooking it, but it's not crispy cooked all the way.
And Ubon's was selling Rice Krispie treats with bacon.
I saw
Just
that.
Peanut
yeah.
butter, bacon, Rice Krispie treats. I saw a bunch of stuff like that.
I stayed. Well, of course, I had to stay at the Blue Plate tent, but that's where we were doing the meet and greet there. And so I didn't get to walk around as much as you did. You kind of went around and checked out everything. So
I tried to. They have, I mean,
you did bring back some nachos that were really good,
Yeah.
brisket nachos.
but the whole atmosphere is very fun and family, and
It's New Orleans.
it's New Orleans.
food
yeah,
town.
Yeah.
Drinks are flowing.
Every booth is selling 2 to 3 different things.
Yeah.
You know? wings.
Did y'all see the total
Ribs.
and how much they raised for this year?
It was over 3
It was
million?
it was up there.
Was it
that
over
was
4?
fantastic for pediatric brain cancer. It was. I mean, our Hog Marcio's team won it for the second year in a row. Hog addiction.
They won the overall.
Yeah, yep, grand champion.
I have it all.
Shout out to
pulled
them.
up.
Oh, do you have the list of who won? So did the chocolate cake win the blue plate?
Smokey and the Bacon won the blue plate.
They don't say what they did.
Yeah, they
And
did do a chocolate cake.
Okay,
did
so
do a
it was an
chocolate cake.
old fashioned mayo based chocolate. Have y'all ever had that mayo based chocolate
I have
cake?
not, and I haven't.
I
cooked it.
have. It's an old school recipe. It's not. It's so in a cake you put eggs and oil. Most cake recipes, flour, whatever. So the mayo takes a part of it, and it gives it like. So mayo had like blue plate has a little bit of vinegar in it. It's got like a little like a twang kind of. It gives the chocolate cake that, but it plays on chocolate so well
Yeah.
that you don't know if it's just really good dark chocolate in it or if it's that mayo giving it that. And it's a really good cake. And the chocolate,
You
chocolate
didn't get
fudge
to-
icing. I didn't get to
Yeah,
try that. I've just had that cake before. You
I
know?
pulled up my pictures and I found it. Like,
So the way we did it, like I only got judged 6 entries. That's the way the MBN judging is. And there was 80 something entries.
probably.
So you can think how many tables we had. There was 6 per table. So it was, and I mean, there was shoot, a dozen,
I saw
14 tables.
out of all the stuff that got turned in on your table, because I didn't judge. I was just taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But on your table, you had a fish taco.
That was the best one on my table.
Yeah. What else did you have?
Lotte corn, some coleslaw, some kind of shrimp dish that was like shrimp and onions sauteed up with that one. So I'm not busting anybody out, but at Hogs for the Cause, this is one contest where they have unique categories where they give the teams a little index card, like a 4x6 index card. And you're supposed to you don't write out the complete recipe, but you write out a really good description of your dish. That way the judges kind of know what they're sampling. And so the card for that one said, signed up, forgot everything we were going to do at home, had to improvise. And it didn't tell you it was like shrimp and onions and some kind of mayo sauce. That was just all it said. And so they improvised. We had one that was pretty cool. It was like a fried gyoza dumpling, like a Japanese little dumpling
Yeah.
that had a mayo potato salad in it or something filling. So it was kind of like half gyoza, half pierogi or something like that
Yeah.
because of the potato element. And then they had the really good little dipping sauce for that. That was a good one. And
What did
You
the
had some noodles too.
that was weird. It was like a whole box full of like sausage lo mein. It was like it had andouille sausage in it and lo mein noodles, and it was real dark. And I guess there was mayo in it. You couldn't tell. That one was strange.
what did the fish tacos have in it to like make
It had like a
mayonnaise?
coleslaw.
So it was a piece of crispy fried fish. I mean, it was white flaky fish. I don't know if it's catfish or what. Had a slaw, had purple pickled onion,
Okay.
and it had like a spicy mayo sauce drizzled over it, which I assume was blue plate mayo based. But I mean, fish tacos, crunchy fish tacos are delicious to me.
Yeah.
And so that was why I probably leaned to that one, but it was good.
I got to see what was on everybody else's table too. So I kind of got to see most of the entries. I mean, everything's happening so fast and there's 80 of them. It's easy to
Yeah.
overlook, but I saw chocolate ice cream. I saw a cheesecake. I saw a lot of elote. Several people turned into
Yeah.
elote.
Our latte was hard. Like,
Really?
Corn, it was like overcooked.
Have you seen where they take those corn like riblets almost? Somebody turned in a box of those and I heard they were really good. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a piece of corn, but it's like curled.
Cut into
kinda.
ribbons almost.
Yes.
Are they deep fried? They have to be, right?
I think so. Yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
It did. I saw some lobster rolls or shrimp rolls or something like
That
that.
would have been.
They looked really good.
The whole time I was wishing I got to enter that category. I was like, oh, man.
You were coming
My
up with
little
all kinds of
cheesy
ideas.
crawfish sliders with the mayo and the blue
Yeah.
plate, the sour cream in it,
Ice
or
cream.
shrimp bread.
Ice cream is ballsy.
Yeah.
Like,
They said
ice
it was
cream-
delicious.
yeah.
Was on the table behind us, and the guy that I was sitting beside, his wife was right behind him on the table, and so that's how I got to know it was ice cream. But they were in little bitty jars, They were kind of wrapped up. I mean, the appearance of it wasn't that great because it was just wrapped up little jars. And
Once you pulled the plastic off,
Yeah.
they were cute. They were cute little jars. I think they had Blue Plate logo on
oh,
them.
did it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't get to inspect them. But when I got back over to the Blue Plate tent, there was a lady came by and she's like, "Oh, that's my friend's team. I'm gonna go get y'all some. Do y'all want some?" And I was like, "Yes, go get me some." And she didn't go. They must not have had them.
Yeah.
Oh, I imagine they went fast, and it was warm down there. I don't know how you kept them cold. But that was creative to me to
Yeah.
make a chocolate ice cream and to turn that in.
I saw a lot of fritters, you know,
Yeah.
different types of fritters, and I saw several dumplings and
Did you see pimento cheese?
um
Because to me, that'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Like make
to
a
me,
really good
that's really
pimento
good.
cheese.
I don't recall out the top of my head.
What would you do if you got to turn in your best Blue Plate mayo dish?
I don't know. You're
Like
putting me on the
shit,
spot.
because like you've got a cookbook full. It's like everything has
Ooh,
mayo
mac
in
and
it.
cheese.
See, did you see any mac
I
and
did
cheese?
see mac and cheese.
That would have been one
Yeah.
that'd been like hard to beat.
Yeah, it was a big pile of mac and cheese that they.
Yeah, I
it
was
looked
thinking
really
like
good.
individual mac and cheeses, or
Yeah.
either like a deep fried mac and cheese with another little
Yeah.
spicy mayo sauce over it.
And that could have been some of the fritters I saw because I didn't, get to see what was inside.
Po' boy.
Yeah.
That's a classic Blue Plate dish. Like I took a picture beside their big giant po' boy. I didn't see a po' boy. I figured that would be a New Orleans thing.
I saw some mini sandwiches that might have been like mini po' boys.
Yeah.
I saw some grilled cheese and tomato soup.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Grilled cheese would be good because you could use the mayo on the outside for your butter element
And the inside.
and toast it and the inside. Grilled cheese, pimento cheese sandwich.
It might be like one of our contests where people stay away from doing the stuff that seems directly obvious. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, everybody's going to do pimento cheese.
Yeah.
So then only one person does it.
The most unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
And there was you did have to judge creativity.
Yeah,
right?
that's what it was. It was like appearance, creativity, flavor, which is taste, and then overall for that category.
I only saw like one potato salad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I figured that'd be like a lot of people would have done potato salad.
But the grand champion went to Hog Addiction. Squill Team 6 had Whole Hog. Pork Funk All Stars took ribs, and Trailer Pork Boys got shoulder.
That's awesome.
That I love their names down there. They really go out with their booths to make them cool and interactive.
Y'all were sending me the Titanic. I was like, what?
That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Crazy.
Look, there was one. I don't know how big the booth was or the tent thing they created, but they were turning it into a full-fledged like nightclub that night. They had rappers come. Who did they say was coming there?
They said Juvenile came last year.
Last year, Juvie was there.
I was like, what?
This year, I forget who it was, but it was somebody.
Somebody backing it up. On that Titanic, it was scaffolding to look like a giant tugboat, giant cruise
Yeah,
ship.
something like that.
Yeah.
Then they had a band,
They had a band up there on the like
full
deck,
5-piece band
on the Lido deck.
on the Lido deck. Yeah, the Lido deck.
That's awesome.
Just the whole atmosphere there is cool.
And they had music. There was music playing all day.
Yeah.
It was. If I had to say one negative thing, it was windy. But at least it wasn't raining and it wasn't like miserably hot.
Yeah.
It was. It was beautiful. There was just a strong like
Which
10, 15 mile an hour wind all day.
could be worse. I'd
Could be
rather
a
have
lot
the
worse.
wind than
Yeah.
the heat.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing y'all were getting a piece of those storms that came through. So it's kind of sort of like the tail end of
Man, my phone blew up that night. And shout out, prayers go out to everybody that was affected by those storms. We had some severe weather come through the Mid-South. Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee. We were hammered once again. There's a lot of people lost lives. You never want to hear that. But then property damage and everything. And I know there's people out there, like OBR's out helping still, and there's all kinds of different people that are, taking up donations and stuff like that. So we want to always keep that in mind. But that was scary, and I was getting scared because our son was home. Your mom was at our house.
Yeah.
At one point, the tornado was headed right to our house.
Mm-hmm.
That's when my phone really blew up. I was like, I'm not home, and I didn't see any news. We were out.
Yeah, there's a lot of people reaching out to y'all specifically, just letting y'all know, just stay safe and stuff like that. But
It said that the Hernando Air Park was like, take shelter now. It was that bad. And I think, we called your mom. And she's like, well, the wind's blowing. But luckily that tornado split. There was like 3 tornadoes there. One of them hit Mikey's mom's house and mom and dad's house and blew the roof off it, but it kind of like split our neighborhood. And I guess it come across the big lake was it jumped up and it wasn't on the ground when it came over our neighborhood. Luckily.
Yeah, that's
scary. It's scary. Tornadoes is one thing I'm definitely afraid of.
Yeah,
especially at night because that's the worst. I feel like at daytime, if I can see it coming, and we got big fields out here, I can go. You think you can?
You can. But, what are you gonna do outright?
But I just feel like at daytime I'm okay. I can see the storm. At night,
yeah,
you have no clue what direction it's coming from.
You're sleeping, and
that's right. Oh, I wouldn't have been. I would have been.
You would have had us in the bathroom.
Yeah, y'all would have been in there with the helmets on.
That's how I was.
We'd have broke out the football helmets.
Yeah.
So my wife works on the weekends, and so for every Friday, Saturday, I'm pretty much home alone with my 2 boys. And so when all this started coming through, which like I'm pretty young, but since I've lived here, I cannot recall any event that was like y'all are for sure 5 out of 5. Like it's gonna be crazy. So I kind of had to make a decision. It was like, do I want to spend all night in the closet or do I want to go south? So I actually ended up going down to Jackson just to like not have to be in the closet the whole time or whatever.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Evacuate.
There was a lot of people actually down there that would do. I saw lots of DeSoto County tags stuff, so I thought I would be the only one, but no, there was a lot of people. So.
Well, the bad thing was the storms just came through there a week ago. So there was, a whole community was destroyed, Rolling Fork, and then it come through Winona and went back up towards Amory. I mean, it was really bad. So, and that was a week before this other round came through. And I was thinking we were going to have some last night, so I didn't sleep good last night.
Anyway.
Enough weather talk.
While we were down in New Orleans, we did eat some good food.
Oh, always.
That city has such good food.
But you leave a little piece of yourself with it every time you go. At least I do. It was all good up to Sunday.
There's a song that says it takes a lot of water to wash away New Orleans.
Ooh, it does. That's very true.
On the way down there, we stopped at Middendorf's. It is a catfish joint.
In Manchac?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the middle of the causeway that's going, on 55.
Their catfish is very unique.
Super thin.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great.
So they take, because normally you buy what size fillets?
I like the 4 to 6 ounce small fillets.
Do you cut those in half?
If they're 4 ounce, you don't have to. But if they're anything bigger than 6, I usually split them.
Okay.
Just because I like a thinner, smaller piece of fish that'll fry up super crispy, and it's thin, so you get the right crunch, you get the right seasoning on it. It's just, to me, that ratio of crunch to fish is perfect for catfish.
But it almost seemed like they took a big catfish fillet, and then, how would you describe it? They
fillet it even more.
It's almost like they peeled layers off
of
it.
It's like, I think it's called the Delmonico cut of catfish or whatever. I need to look that up, but that may be not how you say it. A delicata. I think that's what it is, a delicata cut, which is a large catfish fillet, and they're thick. When I say thick, it can be up to an inch or more in thickness. So and I don't know why maybe they just like that style down there. Maybe they were trying to stretch the fish they were serving back in the day. But I actually asked the lady that was waiting on us, did they cut these fillets this thin there? And she said it started back when they had a lady, and that's all she did was cut catfish fillets. And she had a very sharp knife, and she would fillet it more. So it turned these larger, thicker fillets of fish into smaller, more manageable fillets that you could bread.
Like almost paper thin.
I'd like to see one in its raw form before they breaded it, because it has to be that thin to get that ratio of breading to catfish meat that thin. But man, it fries so crispy and good. It just melts in your mouth. And it says, like, when you sit down on the table there at Middendorf's, that here's your seasoning array. They've got like this little carousel where you've got Tony Chaucery seasoning, Cajun seasoning, you got the Crystal hot sauce, you got cocktail sauce, salt and pepper, of course, whatever you need.
Might have been 1 or 2 other things
on this little kiosk. Yeah. And on the sign it said, we simply coat our fish in a mixture of flour and meal, and that's it, no seasonings. So they want you to taste the catfish in its purest form, and if you think it needs seasoning, the seasoning's on the table for you to do it. And I was like, so when I read that, what would you think?
I was like, oh crap. I'm gonna hate this fish.
It's going to be plain. It's not going to have any flavor. It was totally opposite of
Yeah,
that.
it was good.
When you tried that catfish, I mean, first you tasted the batter, but it wasn't like needed salt or needed pepper or anything. And then you tasted the fish, and it all went together. It was just a really, really good bite of catfish.
I thought so too, and I did use a little seasoning, but
All I did was tartar sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all
I didn't have to. But it was almost like the fish was so thin it just became one with the batter, and
Yeah, for real.
you couldn't have like picked the batter away from the fish.
If you go there, you don't need to order anything more than a small plate. That's what we got. We were just for lunch. We knew we were going on to New Orleans. And I was like, we'll just, stop in. We were ahead of our check-in schedule at a hotel. And I'm glad we did because I've passed that place a bunch of times. And I've always known it's famous for its thin crispy fried catfish. But if you get a chance to stop in there and get a bite, do it. It's worth it.
We also went to Restaurant Revolution that night, which was probably the best restaurant I've been to in a while.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of my favorites.
It was the meal was awesome.
Yeah. We ordered.
I think I shocked the waiter.
We ordered char-grilled oysters.
Yeah.
And bone marrow, roasted bone marrow.
If
Those
that's
are
on the menu,
appetizers.
if bone marrow's on a menu, you bet that I'm going to order it. And it's just a canoe of a beef bone that's been roasted. They usually bring you out.
They brought us out some bread.
Yeah, they had some bread.
Well, we said you can keep that.
Yeah. So what I did was when those char-grilled oysters come out, you pick that bone. That bone's hot when it comes out, 1,000 degrees probably, bubbling. The marrow just cooking perfectly in it. But there's a lot of like where that marrow melts and just turns to like delicious oil, beef oil, I guess you'd say, tallow, hot 1,000-degree tallow. Drizzle that, pick that up and drizzle that over those char-grilled oysters. And when the waiter saw me do it, he's like, "What are you?" And he said, "Oh, I like your style." He acted like he'd never seen it before.
Did you have
I'd
that
never
idea
seen
when
that
you
before.
ordered it?
No, but when I saw it sitting there in front of me, it just a light went off. How could that be bad?
It was so good.
Yeah,
That was the best char-grilled oyster I've ever had in my life.
because you had that
Because I had bone marrow with it.
Yeah. That's something I need to add to the menu. I don't even remember what I ordered he called it the shorties and lobster, short ribs and lobster. It was a good dish.
I had red fish. It was
With the little lemon, what was that, beurre blanc sauce or something?
It was
like
just
that?
a really well cooked, perfectly cooked piece of red fish with a sauce that he poured when it set down the table.
I like that aspect of it. The sauce comes out in like this little silver pitcher, baby milk pitcher or something, and he pours that in your plate first and then the fish or
Just
whatever.
makes me feel fancy.
Yeah, it was good.
We also found a little tiki bar that I wanted to go to. I've never been to a tiki bar. I've always wanted to go to a tiki bar.
What was it? Berries?
Beach Bum Berries, Latitudes 29.
If y'all ever get a chance to go in that place, that's a cool place. It's about the size of this podcast room. I mean, it's tiny.
And it was real dark.
Yeah, super dark. Like you can't see. I mean, yeah. It's candlelit tables. That's about it. I don't even know if they got lights.
We were pulling out our flashlights on our phone to read the menu. I mean, that could be because we're old. But
We took some pictures of those drinks. You need to share some of those.
yeah.
Those
They were real
I never
tiki
would have knew
drinks.
that bar existed. And I've been to New Orleans, bunch. What street was it on? Decatur?
I think so. Yeah.
We had an Uber drive us off there.
Yeah.
And it was like you didn't know that was the one you couldn't find the door for, right? And it was like, is it this door?
It was hidden.
It
Yeah.
was well hidden.
So we had something called a Shanghai lumpia there, Lumpia, and it's a Filipino style egg roll.
Oh yeah.
And they had shrimp, pork, muerpa, udon noodles in that egg roll.
It was good.
So I looked up what lumpia wrappers are. So it's so the lumpia is a Filipino version of spring roll. Both
Spring rolls typically like rice paper, right? Like thin see-through stuff.
lumpia paper uses flour instead of rice. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's going to be a flour, and they're circular like a crepe instead of square or rectangular like a egg roll.
It was very light and flaky.
Yeah.
Super light. Those were good.
It was very good. And then we had pimento cheese rangoons.
Ooh, those were good too.
Which I thought that was a great idea. It's kind of taking the Southern and the Asian.
Yeah.
It really wasn't like a dinner place. You just got like some apps, like small plates they called it, and we sat at the bar. I mean, and had the bartender, like she'd been, I forget how long, I asked her how long you had to work there before they let you make drinks, because the drinks they were making were super complicated. I mean, it was like you needed to be a florist to make it. They put so much garnish and stuff. I mean, for real, like she put down flowers and stuck them in, and it was crazy.
She was making the flower garnish there with each drink you ordered.
Each drink. It took them a while. Like they're not churning out drinks.
Yeah.
It's
they're not slinging them.
Yeah. It's like when you order a drink, it might be 15, 20 minutes before you get it, but they were well worth it.
They're shaving nutmeg on the top.
Yeah, it was fancy.
We also went to the Koshan Butcher one day for lunch.
One of my favorite lunch spots now.
Really?
I've been to the Koshan restaurant, and I just thought it was good. I've never been over to the butcher shop right beside it, and it's just like a little lunch place where they still have a meat counter where you can order deli meats and cured meats and things like that, but it was fantastic for lunch.
I had duck pastrami sliders with Gruyere cheese.
That would be a good one to recreate.
It would be really good. That would be good for a contest entry.
Oh, for exotic or
mayonnaise.
Poultry,
yeah.
mayonnaise.
On the little...
Yeah. I got the classic muffaletta, but we also got some hog head cheese. Did you ever had that?
I have, but I've always not liked it.
So what did you think about
it? Was really
Koshan's?
good.
I thought it was awesome.
I kept eating it.
Yeah.
You got boudin too, and I thought it was really good boudin.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it just a brand of it, or
no? So what it is, they take the head of a hog and they cook it down, and I'm talking about boil it down where all the meat comes off the bones. But it has a lot, since they cook it like that, a lot of the collagen and the tendons and things like that in the head break down. And so when you get all this meat and collagen, you separate the bones and anything undesirable, you pick all that out, and then they season it up and add probably onions and peppers and things like that, and they put it like in a mold
with gelatin.
Well, I don't think you have to add any gelatin, because the collagen and all the breakdown of the cartilage and the tendons is what makes it gel. But you have to refrigerate it like overnight, and it turns into like a loaf. Then you can pop it out and slice it up, so you get a chunk of all this hog head meat.
If you know, it sounds
describe
delicious,
right? Yeah. It's something you need to. If you get a chance to try it, don't think about how they did it.
Yeah.
Just think about how good all of it tastes together.
I will try it.
So I did look up the official definition. It is parts of the head, including the tongue. Sometimes they'll throw in feet and heart, but it definitely includes brain, eyes, and ears.
Definitely includes.
Thanks, y'all, for the description.
You just cook the head down. You just boil the head. Oh, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, Tyler.
Let's do that.
We'll do that for Buck Junkies or something.
God. All right.
Just get out the big pot and boil it down like Mark's Jambalaya pot. Because you need something big to cook the head in, especially if you're talking about 250-pound hog's head. That's a big head.
Yeah, I mean you like some of the head meat, like the temple.
Jowl and the temple meat, some of the best meat on a hog. And I doubt they probably don't do that when they make hog head cheese. They're cutting those jowls out. Temple might be in there, but they're not wasting anything when it comes to a pig. There's a use for all of it.
Would you eat head meat?
I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
I wanted to try it when we had the Palmer home thing, but I think I just ended up having to leave too early or something like that, but I would try anything once.
Oh, yeah. Memphis in May, you'll get to try some hog head.
I'm sure it'll ruin it for me. I'll never be able to have it anywhere else.
Well, when they smoke a hog the way they do at Memphis in May, it's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The meat is...
Shell's ate eyeball before. I've seen you do it.
It was a dare. We were daring each other.
I would do it. Straight hog eyeball.
Was there mayonnaise involved?
No mayonnaise. It was beer, though. Beer was involved.
Makes sense.
We also went to Broussard's for brunch. And
best brunch in New Orleans. Not because of the food. Because of the... I don't even know if you call that bottomless mimosas. It's just like, we're just going to give you all the champagne you can handle. It was a bad idea. That's what I was okay up to Sunday until we went there. 5 days later, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty fun. But you asked me that next day, I didn't think I was going to make it back from New Orleans.
So when you order the bottomless mimosas, have you ever ordered bottomless mimosas anywhere else?
The only place
It's
I've seen it's like
typically-
casino.
Yeah, it's typically like you've got to wave them down and they bring you something that's pre-mixed and doesn't have very much champagne in it. You got to keep asking for it. When you sit down here, order bottomless mimosa, they give you a little carafe of orange juice about this big.
Yeah.
And then they just start pouring champagne in your glass. And
And-
you don't have to ask them. They'll just walk by and say that you've drank half your champagne and go ahead and fill it back up.
They don't ask you if you want more juice or anything. And it's like, we never got any more juice. It was just always champagne. And they just kept bottles like sitting around in these little champagne holders around the
Everywhere,
tables. Yeah. And so anybody walking by was pouring champagne for you.
Yes.
You could be talking with it in your hand, talking over your shoulder, never filling your glass up.
I had a feeling.
Tuna.
I had a feeling it went south at one point because I sent a couple videos over. I was like, "Hey, I just need you to look over," and you were like, "Does this have to be today? Is this going live today?" And I was like, "Yeah, one of them." So,
Oh, getting back Monday was.
We needed to like come back Wednesday. Like I wanted to pull over and turn into a bridge person. Like all these people sleeping on the bridge. I was gonna stop. I gotta sleep with them, Shell. You gotta give me a day or something. Maybe that's how you become one.
We did it
You
like
go to bottomless mimosas, the next day you're sleeping under bridges.
I can
Doesn't
see.
seem like a bad idea at the time.
I can see how that progression happens.
Yeah.
Being there myself, yeah.
Living there, oh yeah, you would have to learn some limits or something if you were going to live in that town.
I don't think I have those kind of limits. You had a croque madame.
Yes, it was very good. It's some kind of, I'm really not sure what it is. It's like ham.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's ham and it's like a fancy grilled cheese with
So-
the egg on it.
So there's a croque monsieur, and then there's a croque madame. So croque monsieur is a hot sandwich made with ham and cheese, and then they put more shredded cheese on top, and then grill it or bake it. So you get ham and cheese in the middle, bread, cheese on the outside. A croque madame is when they add an egg on
To the
top
top.
of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But it was awesome. Best thing I had there was that fried oyster dish. It was really good.
It was fried oysters and tasso
Tasso ham.
ham.
On like this bed of spinach gratin kind of, or some
Spinach
kind of Florentine
yeah.
sauce. Yeah, that was really good.
Damn.
sounds like y'all went on like a.
It was pretty much like a little foodie tour.
I did a lot of research.
Shell had all this lined out too. It
reservations.
was like I didn't have to think about nothing.
You just showed
The only place that I had us go to is like one night we ended up in this place called the Alibi. it was, you go from going to like Revolution to going to the Alibi, where you get frisked before you go in this hole in the wall place.
Oh.
It is very questionable, but I had a blast in there.
I'm all too familiar going to places like that with you.
It was one of those. It was one of those LA type places, Tyler, down and dirty. We stumbled out of there about I don't know what time it was.
I feel like you got to do both.
Yeah,
I feel very comfortable at both places.
I do, too.
I don't know what that says about me, but
that's that's why I was willing to go lay down on the bridge. I'll go from the Ritz to the bridge real quick. I am not picky. Just depends on what state of mind you're in.
but yeah, if I let him plan the trip, it would just be like, let's just walk around until we see if we find something.
There's something to be said about that.
I don't
though.
argue that there's something to be said about that. But then in that town, you typically have to have reservations and plans.
If you want to go to the fancy places.
Yeah.
But I like to go somewhere and find somebody that I know who's like, hey, man, you work here? Give me a table.
I like a little more structure in my.
Yeah.
That's how my wife is too. She plans everything like that.
I leave rooms. I like plan
You got to give me my
every
free
other.
spirit time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we may go to this bar and get some oysters. That's how I like to plan it. There's a place over here that sells oysters. We'll go over there and see if they got any beer.
You just got to have a few spots in between there that's reservation times.
But Sunday, so Shell's planning quit at like after the mimosas, after the try to drown yourself in champagne morning. This is morning, now, remind you. It was my turn. So we ended up watching the LSU women's college game. They played Iowa. That was all hyped up, and LSU destroyed them.
Yeah.
And then we watched that, and then where else did we go? We got a slice of pizza at one point, maybe a Lucky Dog or something. And then we ended up singing at a piano bar. We met some people from DeSoto County.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd been to the shop and everything. And so we went to the piano bar, and we stayed in there and drank Hurricanes until I don't know what time they ran us out of there. I got outside. I said, "Yo, taxi! We got to go to a hotel."
Stat.
Stat.
Got to check out in 2 hours.
Yeah, we got to be out of there in 2 hours. And then we got to flip a coin until he was driving home. Oh, our drive home was eventful. Like we was pretty much taking it 30 minutes at a time. Now, I don't know. We were probably in bed by midnight, surely. I really don't know. And we didn't leave the hotel till probably 10:30. So we had a good sleep. And then we got up. We were both dragging because I'm be 48 years old this year. That's tough for an old man. I mean, Shell's the young one in our crew, so I was like, "Can you drive?" She was like, "No," but you did. You started out, and we would go 30 minutes, and then I'd take over, and I'd make it 30 minutes. I said, "Shell, we're never going to get home. We're never going to get home."
We made it.
We did.
We sang every song that they played in that piano bar.
Every song.
They probably hated us.
Oh, I know they did. I know they did for a fact.
It's going to be passing you on TikTok. Like, that guy.
That's what Shell. Oh man, there's no telling. There's probably video.
So Memphis in May.
Let's change the subject before we incriminate ourselves.
Memphis in May. The meeting was last weekend. The official cooks meeting for Memphis in May was last weekend.
We were in New Orleans.
We were in New Orleans, so Mark and Jamie went, and Jay Craig.
Yeah, because they cooked a contest. They cooked a toka contest. They had to evacuate that contest because of a storm.
Yeah.
But they went back and cooked it and finished 4th in hog, I think. I think that's what Mark said.
Yeah, I think they did. He had a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
The vibes that I was getting and what I've heard was that it wasn't the best meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very militant?
Very militant. They're threatening to fine people thousands of dollars for all kinds of stuff. If you put, stakes in the ground, if you get off the pathway while you're loading in your trailer. It was some pretty...
It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
It's going to be very interesting how this goes.
Well, I want to know what the state of the park's going to be after Beale Street Music Fest. Because I don't know if a barbecue team could do more damage than they do, especially if it rains that week. In years past, it's just a giant mud hole. That's, and when it does dry out, it just turns to dust. And what grass was there and all that's usually just beat down from traffic. So I don't know what they're thinking. I guess they're hoping.
I don't know.
You think you're going to get 100,000 people at Music Fest just to stay on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
And not kick the sprinkler heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's going to be very interesting.
And not to stomp on the grass too much.
Mm-hmm. Hope they hadn't planted flowers and they think they're going to survive and stuff like that.
They're going to get stomped.
Because it used to be just flat ground, and they grassed it, and they knew every year after May they were going to resod everything.
Yeah.
It just, it is what it is. I would imagine that's still going to apply.
Well, typically, imagine it would survive if you didn't have the rain, but typically you get the rain coming in either right before or during the music fest. I can't tell you how many times I watched bands wearing a poncho,
Oh, yeah. It turned into a mud pit.
Yeah.
Every stage. Like you can tell when they take the stages down, but you can tell still where the stages were afterwards because it's just a mud.
Yeah, especially right there in front of the stage.
Yeah.
So this year we have a river spot. What does a river spot mean, Mal?
It means the front of your booth is facing the river, Mississippi River. right on, like, there used to be a sidewalk right along this bank of the river, kind of, well, above the rocks. So they, and that's your booth to be right on the other side of that sidewalk. So when you're looking out, you got a beautiful view to the west.
I always like it.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best spots in Barbecue Fest. You get a breeze coming off the river as the sun goes down. You get the sunset. You can see both bridges on both ends. I mean, it's the spots to have.
The river boats are going by.
Constantly going by, yeah. That's what makes Memphis and May so special to me, being at Tomley Park right there on the river. It's just, there's no other ambiance at a barbecue contest like that.
Yeah, I can't tell you one.
Yeah.
American Royal, you're at a speedway.
Yeah. The
Houston,
Jack, maybe, just because of the atmosphere at the Jack.
Maybe.
But Memphis and May is like no other.
And we're cooking whole hog this year.
We are.
What have we cooked the past couple years? Ribs?
Ribs.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a big announcement. I don't think you guys have said that yet on air. I think y'all have kind of talked about it preemptively.
Yeah,
but
we signed up for hog.
We're cooking a whole hog.
In fact, I think we're going to cook 2 whole hogs. Pretty much have to.
On a stick burner.
On a stick burner, on an outlaw smoker.
Which is not something that's typically done down in Memphis and May either.
yeah, it wasn't last year's kind of on a weird grill too. That one hog, it was in like a big drum or something.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they made that
Blues
big
Hog
drum,
cooked
yeah.
one on a gateway drum.
Interesting.
They showed it on a gateway drum. I'm still not.
You're not convinced?
I'm not convinced.
I was not there. I don't know.
I was not there. I do not know.
I think I saw the big drum like walking around
Yeah.
or whatever, but yeah.
I bet it was delicious if it was cooked on there.
Man, yeah. That's what Jay come up with, this idea on these outlaw stick burners to mimic that drum flavor. Because, I mean, I've heard me say it constantly. The best flavor to any of my pits is my drum smoker, because that meat juice drips down on the coals. And if you can duplicate that, that's old school hog cooking. Like all those smokehouses and barbecue joints in the Carolinas or in Western Tennessee or my kind of my family's from, are based on those. They were brick pits with a grate, and they shovel coals underneath them, and the hog, as it cooked, dripped down on those embers and created that flavor, that steam that comes up, and it's amazing. And that's kind of what we're going for with these outlaw pits now.
Yeah, because it's not just an offset fire. He's putting coals underneath it with the offset fire.
Jay has
correct?
made it to where underneath, like on the belly of the stick burner, now has like its own compartment of doors that opens up. And he's got these baskets that you can, slide in your firebox into your pit. It catches the embers as they drop down from your stick fire and goes in these little charcoal baskets now, or ember baskets. And you take those ember baskets and you slide them under your hog underneath the doors as it's cooking. So you're putting them under the hams, under the shoulders, putting more heat. And as that drips down, it's giving you all that flavor. And so you're cooking it with the radiant heat from the firebox doing, kind of flowing through like a stick burner does. Plus you're getting the benefit of those hot coals underneath the hog, which I guess
How much heat are you getting from the coals underneath?
They're cooking a hog in 6 hours.
So you're getting.
But I mean, you got to think they're probably running at 350, 400 degrees on that pit.
Wow.
But it's pulling a lot of air, so a lot of it's like convection style heat because it's just rolling through there. And so it's speed cooking. It's fast. It's hot and fast. But you're getting that flavor. But a drum cooks hot and fast too.
Yeah, yeah.
Those guys are cooking ribs, 2.5 hours, butts in 4 hours, brisket in 4 hours. So it's that same style.
Do you think there is something, do you need to do something extra if you're cooking that hot and fast? Do you need to work in a big rest or?
The rest is very important on it because you got to let it calm down. But also you can't put all the seasoning and sugars on that hog like a lot of teams do from the get-go. And that's what, if you go back and you watch these old style of cooking, they might have took them still 24 hours to cook these hogs, in these old-fashioned pits. But all they used was salt. They didn't use a lot of sugars and a lot of other stuff in it because it would burn up.
Yeah.
And so you got to watch that. And it would take, you would slow that hog down big time if you only run coal baskets underneath it to really old school, but by adding sticks to the far end and letting it pull through and controlling that heat, that's how you're speeding that process up.
And you're also cooking from the top and the bottom?
Yes, you're cooking it from both sides at the same time. Whereas if you just had coals underneath it, you would just be bottom cooking.
You probably
now you're
flip
getting
it.
that heat.
Do
rolling.
they flip it?
No, ours don't. The other ones, those old school hogs, they would start them out skin up, get that skin nice and tight, from the heat and the salt. Then they would flip it halfway through and finish it out, mopping it. That's where they get the spicy vinegar mop and stuff like that. So we're kind of doing that same style, and we're just salting it at first, but then we come back and put our rubs and stuff on it after we unwrap it, set all that, and set the glaze and stuff like that. So it's a unique style hog, but it's pretty tasty.
It is. It's very good. It's my favorite. It's my favorite way y'all have ever cooked a hog.
Well, to me, it reminds me of the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. It comes from Jack's Creek. That's what it tastes like. When you taste a hog that's been cooked that way, it just, there's something about it. You taste the smoke, you taste the pork flavor. It's not all about injections and sauces and marinades and rubs and all that stuff. It's just the essence of it. And so when I'm thinking of a whole hog, man, that's awesome. I probably wouldn't want to cook ribs that style. And I don't know, they'd probably be really, really good. But the hog that style is just phenomenal from end to end. Like we were pulling out ham on it, and Mark was giving me some when they did a practice cook. He's like, guess where this came from? And I was trying it, and I was like, my goodness, that tastes like belly. I knew it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I said, that reminds me of the belly that we've been cooking, and of just a regular comp style hog. He said, that's ham. And that's some of the leanest meat on the animal that is tasting like that.
Yeah.
So if you can make ham taste that good, man, you got something.
So for today's Shell's Learning Time.
Ooh. Is it about Blue Plate mayonnaise?
No, but it is time to talk about how Blue Plate mayonnaise is the best mayonnaise on the planet.
Why is that?
Oh, it's so good. It's been, that guy did tell us that they use real egg yolks, right?
And more egg yolks than anybody else.
And more egg yolks than anyone else, and that's why he thinks the flavor is so much better.
Yeah. But he did say that Duke's does use egg yolks too.
Yeah, they're
it's
the
not
other,
as many as it's close to as many as Blue Plate.
That was actually a joke that he said, people will get upset about mayonnaise. They'll fight. No, Blue Plate's the best. No, Duke's is the best. They'll argue, but nobody's standing up for Hellman's.
Yeah, why not? It's just those two.
I think it's more of like a middle
southern,
of the road.
No, it's a southern thing.
Yeah.
Fight over mayonnaise.
Serious business.
So today I want to talk to you about MSG. Is it really bad for you? What do you think?
Is it?
Is MSG really bad for you? There's this big hype that MSG is bad, and people use it like MSG free food and no MSG. And
is salt bad for you? Here's your answer. Is salt bad for you? We're talking about natural occurring. This isn't like man-made stuff. Salt, MSG, is a natural occurring, product, I guess you would say. Or
it's a monosodium glutamate.
Yeah, it's not something man-made, right?
No.
It occurs naturally in food.
Well, it can be made from amino acid produced by fermenting corn, sugarcane, sugar beets, or molasses.
That's probably what acid does.
Yeah. But it does naturally occur in things like tomatoes, cheeses, and some other foods.
So it's a flavor enhancer is what it is. Am I a fan of it? Yes. It occurs in a lot of stuff we eat. But it's like anything. If you use it in excess, it can be very bad for you. If I was to put tons and tons of salt on stuff, my heart doctor is going to tell me that's horrible for you.
Yeah.
But salt's a natural thing. I think a little of it, it's okay. And I think the same thing with MSG. These people freak out over it. And a lot of that's hype, probably bad, advice or whatever you want to call it, marketing. It's all, I think that has a lot to do with it.
It's actually one of the world's most commonly used food additives.
Really? Other than, I could see it. Salt, pepper, garlic, maybe. MSG.
Well, it's used.
Or as an additive.
Yeah. It's
you know why?
Because it gives flavor.
It makes other ingredients taste better. That's what MSG does. So when you taste something and you taste something that has MSG on it, it's like a flavor explosion.
Yeah.
You can, and you can taste it for time after. And if you've ate much competition barbecue, you probably love MSG. You don't even know it. But we use it. We, as in barbecue, competition barbecue people, use it in way excess. I guarantee you.
They do.
Way more quantities than you should, because I've seen it and I've done it. People sprinkle it right on meat before it goes in a turning box. Would you ever know? No. But once you taste it and then all them flavors pop, you're like, wow, man, they really got that sauce in there. That's those flavors coming through. I can taste the cherry. I can taste the, the different elements of this dish. It's because it's been coated in MSG and had a lot of it in there.
Well, Accent, that's nothing but MSG, and it says wakes up flavor.
Like that's their slogan, wakes it up.
Yeah, it's very popular to be used in Asian dishes, fried chicken, canned food.
Oh, if you use some of that, the Japanese, the Ajinomoto, man, that's some of the best MSG on the planet.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
It's just straight MSG?
We started using it in steak cook-offs because it's some super MSG.
How's it? It's super MSG.
It's way more intensive than the MSG we buy at the Accent, You can't use near as much of it, but it's a lot flakier, too. I guess it's in a pure form or something. Or they don't grind it as much.
Yeah.
Whatever, but it'll wake a steak up.
So, in 1968, a physician wrote about the Chinese restaurant syndrome and blamed MSG without any proof or evidence that it caused him to have these bad effects after he ate Chinese food. Turns out that letter was actually a hoax. Wasn't a physician. He just
a marketing ploy.
I think so.
Probably from a salt company.
But it didn't matter because it took off. They did a bunch of testing in the 70s where they took MSG and actually injected it directly into the brains and the bodies of lab rats. And they had these horrible effects, but it's because they were, if you would have taken anything and directly injected it. So now they've done some more study, and the Food and Drug Administration says that MSG is recognized as generally safe. Even global food regulating bodies like the United Nations and the World Health Organization all agree.
But they make you put it on a label if it's in there.
It does. It's very rare to have an MSG sensitivity. And typically the sensitivity is only seen if you consume 3 grams or more of MSG without food.
So how much is 3 grams?
So they say most food contains less than 0.5 grams of added MSG.
Are we talking like a tablespoon? Is that?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Let me Google that real quick. My favorite rubs and seasonings have
MSG in it, yeah. I've pulled it out of all of ours except for AP.
Yeah.
And I refuse to because AP is it's a flavor booster. It's what brings the flavor, and it's still in there. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. I mean, that's my stance on it. But it's on the label. There's some of it in there.
Is it in prime beef?
Heck yeah!
I was about to say, I thought there was because it's.
That's why I like prime beef so much.
And it wakes up the flavor and stuff. You put that on something, it's good.
The thing about prime beef, which is we're talking about Swine Life prime beef, their seasoning. They have umami flavor in there, like some mushroom flavor and the MSG. So it really kicks up that umami-ness.
It's like super flavorful. I was wondering.
That's what it is. So if you've tasted something and your mouth's watering and you can still taste all these flavors, think how great it is, it's because of the MSG in there.
Yeah.
That's what did it to you. So any ingredients or any rubs you taste and you immediately get that effect, that's MSG. But I'm a fan. I like it.
Heck yeah.
And a little won't kill you, right?
I don't know what y'all do to them judges, but okay, so I have some community questions for you.
Awesome, let's do them.
So somebody said that they were looking for fall off the bone award-winning ribs. They said they enter a local contest, and the judges complained last year that they didn't have any fall off the bone ribs.
See, and there's nothing wrong with that if you like to eat ribs that fall off the bone like that. That's so in the barbecue world, competition world, a fall off the bone ribs overcooked. But when you're cooking for community contests or these small town unsanctioned type events, and they're just pulling regular judges, like regular folks off the streets judging them, they're going to want that super tender rib like that. So you can use the same recipes. You just need to take those ribs further. So instead of pulling them off at 202, 204 internal, you need to let those ribs go till like they're 210, 215, rest them. They're going to be more in that fall off the bone, meat'll jump right off stage. It's just a matter of taking them a little bit further in the wrap. That's what gets them tender like that. You can add a little bit more moisture in your wrap. You can take them a little further and then rest them. And they'll tighten up enough for you to slice them once you open them up out of that foil and then slice them. And then they're going to be, when that judge gets them, they're going to pick them up and they're going to be ready to jump off the bone. It's just a matter of taking them a little bit further.
Have you ever judged a contest where you went to pick up a rib and the bone came off, but the meat was still in there?
Most of the time it doesn't happen in like a sanctioned contest because the people have been instructed, unless you're new. But when I've judged, and I judge a lot of contests that aren't sanctioned barbecue contests, a lot of times, often those ribs are, and I picked up ribs and all it is like pulled meat. You get, 6 bones in a box and it looks like a box of pulled meat. Was it delicious? Yeah. Was it, overly cooked? Yeah, it's overcooked for rib, but
because really it's
still good.
It's a challenge to land right in that middle range.
Perfect mark. And see, that's the thing about judging. When you're judging tenderness, it's not truly, is this meat perfect tender? It's what the tender guideline is. So if they're telling you meat's tender when you can take a bite of it and, it's still juicy, it doesn't have that peanut butter mouthfeel or whatever, that's most of the time that's the tenderness they're looking for, and that does not mean fall off the bone. Because if you get fall off the bone meat, a lot of times the texture's off on it. It's going to get mushy on you, and that would gig you in tenderness for that. But it was tender. It fell off the bone. No arguing that.
So I got another question for you.
All right.
This guy says him and his men's church group get together. They spend all day kind of cooking, like let's say ribs. The families all come towards the end and eat the ribs and stuff. But while they're hanging out cooking for that, 6 hours, what are some good Pitmaster treats that they can cook and pass out and munch on while they're cooking the dinner?
I would say sausage and cheese. That's a good one. Anything popper.
Yeah.
ABT. What I was thinking, where they, take a jalapeno, cream cheese, little meat on top, wrap it in bacon. Those cook fast. Bacon wrapped shrimp. Those are good one. Smoked or grilled wings. Those chicken skewers, like thighs on the skewers. Those are good. I forget what I called those. I did a really good recipe on them.
You have a bourbon. Is that one?
Yeah, bourbon chicken skewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, those. Might not want to do that for your church group.
It was just a bourbon marinade.
Yeah, maybe do a Dr. Pepper version. But sliders, any kind of the pizza slider is probably one of my favorites. Any just regular ham ham and cheese sliders, anything like that would be great. A dip, a hot dip cooked in a cast iron skillet.
Oh yeah,
that'd be real good. Yeah, barbecued shrimp. That'd be an easy one to do. You can do that in a pan. Cook all your ingredients down. It cooks super fast. Really want to spend some money, smoke some crab legs. Have y'all seen the TikTok thing where they do the crab legs? I got to do this. Like you get the cluster of crab legs and you break off on the the longer pieces of the leg, longer joint. You break off both ends and you hold it and you slam your hand and knocks it out perfect.
I have seen that.
I want to see if it works.
Okay.
Have y'all seen it? It looks so cool. That's going to change. That's going to speed up my crab leg game right there.
Make it easier.
Make it easier. You can knock out a whole platter of that.
Let's do that for Easter.
Crab legs for Easter? That's not a bad idea. A lot of people do crawfish for Easter.
Yeah.
Speaking of crawfish, did you see that crawfish TikTok? The washing? God, it jumped up.
I don't know how many people are watching.
Wash crawfish.
Wash crawfish. I'm expecting like a community violation.
What's that? Did I do something?
No, but you just see all these crawfish.
Yeah. Oh,
just how it works.
Yeah.
They got somebody made a comment that they go, wee.
You know, he said that, and I almost cut it out. I almost left it in.
Yeah, you should have.
They must listen to the podcast because I think he said. I think you did.
Yeah.
mention it, but thought it was funny.
You got another question?
Yeah.
What do we got?
This one's a really good one. So Ferris wants to know. He got peanut oil. He used it once to fry turkey for Thanksgiving. Put it back up like he should, but it's been sitting in his garage since Thanksgiving.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, when he says like he should,
Did he
strain it, get, any little crunchies or bits of seasoning out of the bottom, put it back in your jug, put the lid on it. I've kept it for up to a year like that.
When you say get any little bits of seasoning, like how thorough do you need to be with
I mean,
that? Like
most of the time, like I've seen two ways. Like when I pour mine up, a lot of that sediment stays in the bottom. So I slowly try to pour the oil off the top of the pot first, and all that stays in the bottom, and I don't pour that in there. I just sacrifice a little oil in the bottom. It's where all the little dredges and seasoning bits and burnt stuff is.
Gotcha.
But they also make looks like an oil filter, and it has a little screen in it. And so you can buy one of those, run it through that, maybe put a little coffee filter in it or something, filter it through that. But I don't get crazy with it. I mean, you can kind of tell the difference in the oil as you're pouring it. So, and it's fine. It's fine. I'd use my fish grease the same way. I have one separate. It's like, all right, I cooked fish in this oil, so I'm going to strain it back in the big 2.5 gallon jug or whatever it came in. Take a permanent marker, a Sharpie, and write fish oil on it. And that's what I'm going to fry my fish in. I'll use it for, 6 to 12 months. I feel safe. I think you would know, like after you get a few cooks on it, you can kind of tell the oil starts to kind of get that burnt look or smell, or if it has like any kind of little, oil will go rancid on you, but you can usually smell it if it does.
Yeah.
And if it smells like peanut oil, it's fine. Still got that clear look to it. That's what I would go by. But I would think, just one frying, that's a no-brainer. I'd still use it.
As long as it looks good and smells good.
Yeah. As long as the cat ain't got into it or something.
What's the cat gonna do?
Cats love oil. Get hair all in it. I'm licking it. I don't know.
Well, Malcolm, that's all I have for you today.
All right. Well, hey, I hope everybody has a happy Easter out there.
Yeah,
Cook up it's time to get those hams going. Tyler, you want to tell everybody where they can find us in the community and all the good stuff?
Hey guys, so all the questions that Shell just asked came from our Let's Get to Cooking community page over on Facebook. You can find it just by searching Let's Get to Cooking, and it should pop up first result. Also, we're going to be doing a giveaway pretty soon over there. It's because it's springtime. I want you guys to start getting those grills cleaned up and stuff. So more details to follow probably this week after Easter on that one. And then if you want all of Malcolm's favorite recipes, make sure you guys download the HowToBBQRight app on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store.
Yeah, if there's something you want to see me cook or give my take on, put it in that community. That's a good place for us to get that.
We're always looking for suggestions.
Yeah. I need to work on that chocolate cake.
You've never really done too much baking.
No, that'd be a good one. A blue plate chocolate cake on the smoker.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good TikTok.
Use the spicy one.
I don't know about that. What would that be? A Diablo chocolate cake? Diablo.
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram.
We gone.